I'm the Research Integrity Officer. If you don't learn anything else from my talk, rio@msu.edu, and our clever email, rio@msu.edu. Don't send it to me because it'll get lost in all my other stuff. And but that's where we live, in Will's house. It's kind of a sneaky place. It was the first weather station. It was built in 1927, I believe. It's right on Michigan Avenue. And if you ever need to come there, my assistant will give you a map. Again, go to this website. This is on Steve's page. And there's a few links, I think you can see them up there, that talk about some authorship guidelines and some who owns data and all of those sorts of things. If you don't know anything else and you want to ask some questions, that's a good place to be. So what do we do? Why am I even here? Well, unfortunately, not everybody is as perfect as you are at doing your research. And we've got a lot of faculty here, and occasionally people make mistakes that are on purpose. And that happens, and we don't like that. And it might never happen to you, but I will guarantee you that you will know somebody that's involved in something before your career is over. That's just the way it is. So at least you know where to send them if people have questions. Every university that spends any federal money has to have somebody like me. If you're at Harvard and you've got 12 research hospitals, you've got 12 of me. You know, you go where the money is. But I'm it for all of our colleges. I don't take sides. Somebody comes in, they have a complaint, I deal with it. I don't care who it is. If I don't prejudge anything. Difficult part of the job sometimes, but that's the way it is. So I'm not an advocate. I will talk to you about anything. What exactly is research misconduct? Well, this is our definition. Fabrication, falsification, plagiarism, or anything that seriously deviates from what we should be doing. That is our definition. Every university has a definition that is slightly different. This is ours, and it's because we're the kind of university we are. We meet the federal guidelines, and that's what's important. There's other things in addition to research misconduct that might happen. There's some things, and I think Paul was talking about, full disclosure. You got to be honest with these folks. You send in a National Science Foundation grant, they ask you, do you have any money from anybody else? Oh no, nothing at all. And they find out, well, yeah, but except you have this grant and this grant and this grant, and they're all the same title. That's not good. The university doesn't like that. Steve doesn't like that. I don't like that. Nobody likes that. And NSF doesn't like it, which is the most important thing. There's compliance. We were just talking about with the animal care folks and the human subjects. You have to abide by those rules. So occasionally there are things that happen that aren't research misconduct, but they're the kind of things that mostly I think Paul was talking about that get us in trouble. They're rules that you should have known about if you're doing the research. You didn't ask, or you were trying to cut corners or whatever, and it's called unacceptable research practices. And it sounds like, well, that's not as bad as research misconduct, but it could be, depending on what it is. So that's not a good thing. So as Paul says, ask, please. And believe it or not, there are faculty members here with all their degrees behind their names that believe that they're first among equals. And I'm sure none of them are in this room, but I've heard there are such people here. And sometimes they don't treat other people very well, whether that's their students, their postdocs, or their other faculty members. And it's just not a good way to run an airline. So sometimes they end up doing something that ends up being something called questionable research practices. And that's like, you just don't want to do research this way, and you need to clean up your act. So that occasionally happens. It all boils down to collegiality. So I have a quick question. What percentage of potential allegations that comes to our office is associated with some sort of previous conflict? Young man, what do you think? What percentage?
85.
85. He's seen this movie before. It's gone up since the last show. It's about 90. We have very, very few altruistic, hey, I was reading this and I'm from the University of Nebraska and these two look alike, you might want to look into it. We don't have a lot of that. We have some, but not much. 1 out of 10 cases. Mostly something went wrong somewhere. I don't look into somebody's soul and say, are you just turning in this allegation because you don't like them? I don't look at that. I just look at evidence. So, you know, everybody, like the movie Flatliners, everything counts. It all adds up. And this was an interesting thing when we do the responsible conduct of research for grad students. This is sort of frightening, and it happens every year. I give a talk. I have about an hour talk that I give to the grad students. And I say, okay, now you all know what research misconduct is. Do any of you know of anything right this minute that meets this definition? We had about 200 people there. Half of them said yes. And that's pretty much the way it is. This was kind of a bad year. Usually it's more than half. Now, do I have 91 people in my office the next day? No. But at least they know what's going on. And the amount of advice questions I've had the last few years has been, particularly this year, has really, really gone up. And I love to give advice. You can take it or not. But a lot of times that is like preventive medicine. And I like people to ask me questions. So I say, when in doubt, call me and we can talk for 5 minutes and I can let you know if you're doing the right thing. Or you need to call Paul or you need to call whoever. I love those conversations. So when in doubt. And students do that a lot more than faculty. Can we prevent things? We try to work things out. We try to work out some disputes, but when you get two people in a room and compromising and their definition of compromise is we're going to do it my way, it doesn't always work out. So I get called names and that's okay. You know, that's fine. At least they're calling me. It doesn't always work. Sometimes it does. So please, if you know of anything going on or you think, or you just don't know, go to the website if you think, particularly authorship issues and who owns data and those sorts of things. I get a lot of that. And please call and contact me. And thank you.